Some people wake up on time and still choose 5 more minutes in bed. This behavior is often misinterpreted as hesitation or a lack of discipline, but in reality, it has very little to do with motivation or sleepiness. These individuals are awake. They know the time. They are not drifting in and out of consciousness. Their choice is deliberate. What they are responding to is not fatigue, but transition. Waking up is not a single moment where the body instantly shifts from rest to action. For many people, the mind becomes alert before the body is fully ready to move. Awareness returns quickly. Thoughts begin forming. Memory reconnects. But physically, the body may still be in a low activation state. Muscles feel heavy. Breathing is shallow. The cardiovascular system has not yet adjusted to upright movement. Getting up immediately in this state can feel abrupt. It creates a mismatch between mental readiness and physical readiness. That mismatch produces friction. 5 minutes in bed acts as a buffer between these two states. During this brief window, the body begins to recalibrate. Breathing deepens naturally. Muscle tone increases slightly. Blood flow stabilizes. The internal sense of balance improves. This process is subtle and often unconscious, but it has a measurable effect on how the rest of the morning unfolds. People who take these extra minutes often notice a clear pattern. When they get up too quickly, their movements feel rushed. Their attention feels scattered. Minor obstacles trigger irritation more easily. Even if they technically start the day earlier, they feel less centered. When they allow a short pause, the opposite happens. The transition into activity feels smoother. Their thinking is clearer. Their emotional responses are more controlled. Over time, this difference becomes obvious enough that the behavior repeats. Not because it feels indulgent, but because it works. This pause is not about resisting the day. It is about entering it correctly. Another aspect of this moment is the absence of demand. While in bed, nothing is required yet. No decisions need to be made. No responses are expected. The day has not officially begun asking for input. That absence matters. For individuals whose days are structured around responsibility and responsiveness, this short interval is often the only moment where the external world has not yet imposed itself. It allows the internal system to organize before engagement begins. This is why the behavior persists even in high-functioning people. These individuals are not avoiding action. They still get up. They still show up. They still perform. The pause happens before participation, not instead of it. Labeling this behavior as laziness misunderstands its function. Laziness implies unwillingness to act. In this case, willingness is present. What is missing is readiness. Readiness is not only psychological, it is physiological and emotional as well. Some people can shift states instantly without cost. Others cannot. This difference is not a flaw. It is a variation in system design. When people ignore this variation and force immediate action every morning, the consequences often appear later in the day. Energy drops earlier. Focus declines faster. Emotional regulation becomes more difficult. What looks like discipline at the start creates inefficiency downstream. For these individuals, 5 minutes in bed is not wasted time. It is preparation. It allows internal systems to align before interacting with external demands. Skipping this step does not increase productivity. It creates misalignment that carries forward. Understanding this reframes the behavior entirely. What appears slow from the outside is often a form of regulation, and in many cases, it is the reason the day functions at all. Not everyone needs this pause. Some people wake up, stand up, and immediately engage with their environment without discomfort. Others experience resistance almost instantly. This difference is not explained by effort or attitude. It is explained by how individuals process stimulation, responsibility, and control. One major factor is nervous system responsiveness. People with more responsive nervous systems tend to register sensory input more intensely. Light feels brighter. Sound feels louder. Movement feels more demanding. When they wake up, stimulation arrives all at once, often before the body has stabilized. For these individuals, the morning is not neutral. It is an immediate increase in sensory and cognitive load. 5 minutes in bed creates a controlled environment. Light is limited. Sound is reduced. There is no interaction yet. This gives the nervous system time to adjust gradually rather than being overwhelmed. Another factor is cognitive activation. Some people wake up already thinking. Their mind begins processing tasks, obligations, and unresolved issues immediately. The day starts mentally before it starts physically. When they get up right away, those thoughts move directly into action mode, before the body is ready to support them. This creates internal tension. The mind is ahead. The body is behind. The gap between them produces stress. Those extra minutes allow mental organization without immediate execution. Thoughts can surface, sort, and settle without turning into action. This reduces the urgency that often leads to rushed behavior and early fatigue. Control also plays a critical role. Many people live in schedules that are largely determined by external demands. Work hours, family needs, and social expectations structure most of their time. Mornings are often the point where this structure reasserts itself. Choosing to stay in bed briefly can be the last moment of full autonomy, before the day takes over. This is not resistance. It is orientation. It allows the individual to shift mentally from a self-directed state into a responsive one. Without this moment, the transition can feel forced rather than chosen. People who carry high responsibility often rely on this pause more than they realize. It is one of the few moments where nothing is being asked of them yet. Emotional regulation is another contributing factor. Mornings carry emotional residue from the previous day. Unfinished conversations, lingering stress, emotional responses that were never fully processed. Engaging immediately can amplify these unresolved states. A small inconvenience feels larger. A minor demand feels heavier. The pause allows emotional tone to stabilize before interaction begins. This does not eliminate stress, but it reduces reactivity. People who take this time often experience smoother emotional responses. Throughout the morning, there is also a learning component. People repeat behaviors that produce better outcomes. Over time, individuals notice patterns. When they rush the morning, the day feels harder. When they allow a brief pause, performance improves. They are not analyzing theory. They are responding to cause and effect. 5 minutes leads to fewer mistakes, better focus, more stable energy. The behavior becomes habitual, not because it feels comforting, but because it is effective. This habit often appears alongside high functioning. These individuals still meet deadlines. They still engage fully. What they are doing is optimizing how they enter the day. Understanding this prevents misinterpretation. The person who takes 5 minutes is not less driven. They may be managing capacity more accurately. Different systems require different strategies. Immediacy works for some. Calibration works for others. Neither is superior. Each has costs and benefits. Ignoring these differences leads to incorrect assumptions and unnecessary pressure. Not all pauses serve the same purpose. While 5 minutes in bed can be a healthy form of adjustment, there is a point where the behavior shifts from regulation into avoidance. The difference lies in what happens afterward. When the pause is healthy, it leads to engagement. After those minutes, the person gets up. The body feels more responsive. Energy may not be high, but it is usable. The pause resolves the transition. When the pause is unhealthy, it does not reduce resistance. 5 minutes become 10. 10 become 20. Getting up feels heavier rather than easier. The body does not align. It resists. This shift indicates depletion rather than transition. One clear indicator is physical sensation. In healthy adjustment, initial heaviness gradually fades. In exhaustion, heaviness deepens. Muscles feel unresponsive. Breathing remains shallow. Standing up triggers dread rather than inconvenience. Cognitive patterns also differ. In regulation, thoughts organize. In exhaustion, thoughts loop. Worries repeat without resolution. The mind stalls instead of settling. This is often where burnout is misread as laziness. Burnout rarely appears dramatically at first. It emerges quietly through daily resistance. Mornings become harder. Tasks feel heavier. Motivation drops. Not because interest is gone, but because capacity has been exceeded. In these cases, increasing discipline does not help. It increases internal conflict. The body resists. The mind criticizes. Stress accumulates before the day begins. This is why the same behavior can mean different things, depending on context. Staying in bed can be calibration for one person, and a warning sign for another. If someone consistently needs more time, and still feels depleted throughout the day, the issue is rarely their morning routine. It is their overall load, sleep quality, chronic stress, emotional strain, and prolonged overextension are usually involved. In contrast, when the pause reliably improves function, it is doing its job. This distinction also explains why rigid productivity advice often fails. Forcing early action does not build resilience. When capacity is already exceeded, alignment between demand and capacity does. A well-regulated system is flexible. It knows when to pause and when to act. 5 minutes in bed is not a rule to follow or break. It is a response to internal state. The goal is not to eliminate the pause. The goal is to understand why it exists and what it signals. For some people, starting the day correctly matters more than starting it quickly. Respecting that difference reduces internal conflict and supports sustainable energy. 5 minutes, used well, does not delay the day, it prepares it. And recognizing that distinction is often the difference between long-term function and gradual burnout. If you saw yourself in any of this, leave a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so we can keep understanding ourselves a little better.